it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that team stand in the way. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Graham Ruckert for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Thursday. I'm Brandon Beam, hanging out with the Murph Dog, Patrick Murphy, and of course our guy, Rhyme Time, Jacob Reimer behind the glass. Murph, happy Thursday, buddy. What's going on?
No, not much. Happy to be back after a day away. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too. It's the I'm telling you, it was just the Bucknuts show. It's the Bucknuts week is what we're doing here. We had you on Tuesday, and then we had Bids yesterday, and now you're back in the saddle. So, how's your Thursday been? All right? Did you get caught out in the rain?
I did. I was telling you before I lost some headphones, so I went wandering around looking for them outside as it was raining.
Don't take them to crew games, Pat. You should learn your lesson. That's twice now.
I really should have.
Twice.
Yeah.
You've lost them over at lower.com field. Don't take them. Yeah. It's loud enough.
That is not the problem. Yeah. It's my getting to the stadium and wanting to listen to things on a scooter that I guess I just should stop scootering, especially when it's wet out like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's fine though. You're all good. So you lost your headphones. I, for whatever reason, I don't know if I have something in my eye, but my left eye has just been pestering the hell out of me.
It's not
all day
super
long.
red, which is good.
Okay, that is nice. Yeah, but it was like 1 o'clock this afternoon. I dropped the dog off at my dad's, and I was driving back home, and I'm like, all right, I got something in my eye, not sure. It got to a point where I actually had to go to Walgreens and grab some like Visine because I'm like, I need to flush whatever's in here out. It's just enough to make you mad,
right?
So you gave me a couple of days ago a neck problem, and then you had an eye problem on Tuesday when you came in here. Now I have an eye problem.
Right. These things shouldn't be contagious.
And now I'm going to lose my headphones 2 days away from now.
I would keep your headphones in a secure location for the next week. Speaking of things that make me mad, make you mad, make us mad. I was driving here, and it was raining on my car, enough that I needed my windshield wipers on.
Yes.
But the sun was also out.
Yeah, the sun shower.
I don't understand.
Yeah, nobody understands. It's Ohio.
It doesn't make sense to me, and I was like, we're going to talk about this at some point on the show. Bring it up.
Yeah, that happened to me today, too, when I was driving back from Powell. I'm like, it was sunny over there, and it was just pouring rain exactly where I was at. So, gotta love a good sun shower. We got a great show lined up for you here this evening. Bob, on his YouTube show, had Carlos Locklyn on, running backs coach at Ohio State. We'll get a chance to listen to that coming up here in our next segment. The Roth Dog, Anthony Rothman, put out a poll the other day about confidence in the Ohio State men's basketball team or the Ohio State football team. So we'll get into that coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a great mentor to Will Howard. We'll get into that coming up as well. And then we've got a former Buckeye handing out advice and then not a former Buckeye giving some Buckeyes advice. So all kinds of good stuff for you here, Pat, but it is the Buckeye Show. Let's talk about the biggest news of the day. For the Ohio State Buckeyes, Arizona 2026 offensive tackle Aaron Thomas committed to Ohio State. 3-star offensive tackle committed to the Buckeyes today, giving Ohio State 4 offensive linemen now committed in the current cycle and 17 commits overall. So he's 6'7", 300 pounds out of Mountain Point in Phoenix, 439 of the composite rank, 36th offensive tackle off the board. But Ohio State now 17 commits, got a big boom here towards the end of June.
This is an interesting commitment. I was listening to our friend, colleague, Jeremy Birmingham on the Austin and Berm show.
Without
Austin. Yes. But he did have Aaron Thomas on, which was a good listen. But before that, he broke down, and I encourage people to go listen to this because I thought it was really good from Berm. Just kind of why Ohio State went after a guy who, by most rankings, isn't normally as high profile as they typically go after, especially an out-of-state guy.
Yeah, and from Arizona too, like specifically.
Right, and he did bring that up. Like Arizona is not a state that generally is known for its football, so sometimes those guys do get rated.
Lathan Ransom from Arizona, though.
Lathan Ransom, Denzel Burke.
Yeah, football players.
Both guys also turned out okay. But this seems like a situation, like Ohio State already has some offensive linemen committed, as you mentioned. They are still in the running for 5-star Felix Ojo out of Texas. Mm-hmm. Texas also still in the running for him, so we'll see what that does.
Yes.
But Berm pointed out that this gives Ohio State a bit of wiggle room. Like, this is a player that they believe that Tyler Bowen, who contacted him early on, believes can really turn into a good player.
You can't teach 6'7", 300 pounds.
No, and he's only been playing, I guess, tackle for a year or so. So, like, there's a lot to like here. And as we seem to talk about more and more and more, as you're incorporating NIL into this, those 5-star guys are going to cost you some serious money.
Yes,
right?
they are.
And so if you can find a guy like this that maybe doesn't demand the same NIL money, I guess, for lack of a better term, doesn't take as big of a chunk off your budget, but you still think, okay, projecting down, looking at what we've got, looking at what we have coming in, does this make more sense than heavily pursuing a 5-star offensive tackle? Now, they're not going to back off pursuing Felix Ojo, but I do think that now you have another guy in the class that gives you some wiggle room. If he does commit to Texas, or if he asks for more money than you're willing to spend at the position, there are other guys out there as well that you could bring in. So they know with Sam Greer, they've got a guy that they really like.
Yeah, he'll shoot up the recruiting rankings.
And
as
that's
well.
the other thing. I think he, as people put more eyes on him now that he's an Ohio State commit, I think you will see this. And Berm was talking the same way, and I've seen other guys mention this as well, that this is a guy who probably will, by the time it's all said and done, be a 4-star kid and probably ranked right where you expect Ohio State commits.
Well, and you and I were talking about it the other day. Different strokes for different folks in the way that you go out and you recruit. We found that out with Luke Wafel last week. It's Ohio State they're not going to get into an arms race. And so, and also the offensive line position, it's heavily development focused. Like rarely do you have a guy who can walk in day number 1 and be a starting tackle for you. It's not a thing that usually happens in college football. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rules,
sure.
But it's not a thing. So everybody who's getting worried about, he's a 436 composite ranked, player, 36 offensive tackle, like just Tyler Bowen's first year. All right, let's get him on campus. Let's see what happens. And then ultimately your goal as an offensive line coach is to develop these kids 2 or 3 years down the line.
Well, and here's the thing too, is I think offensive line is the hardest position to assess in high school, like in terms of how it's going to translate to the next level. You look at wide receivers, okay, there's very clear things you're looking at. Running backs, quarterbacks.
Jeremiah Smith good in high school.
Right. And there are offensive linemen that you look at and you're just like, Paris Johnson Jr., everyone knew he was going to be good.
Yeah.
But it is hard, and I think you see a lot of times, if you go back and look at the draft based on rankings to positions, I think the offensive line is probably the one that's more all over the board based on where they were as high school kids, as opposed to those other positions, just because kids grow. I mean, you could get to college and your body changes. Maybe guys catch up.
Yeah.
And then just the physical, you're probably blocking guys that you can block just by being bigger than that,
Yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not seeing a Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa,
Right.
Chase Young in high school. And if you are, then good job for you. Your team is probably winning a state championship if you're going against those guys every day.
Yeah, so I think when you look at the rankings and you see, okay, Ohio State doesn't have the 5 stars that you'd like them to have at offensive line, do remember that sometimes, as much as, companies like the one that I'm a part of put a lot of stock in their own rankings, and I think there's good reason for that. Offensive line is really, really hard to judge.
It is. It's hard to evaluate. So big boom today. Again, 2026, 6'7", 300 pounds, out of Phoenix, out in Arizona. Aaron Thomas. Big congrats to him on his commitment. I saw this today. I don't know how much stock you put in Pro Football Focus and their rankings. Take it or leave it. I know that those guys are very forward in the analytical game, and that's the way that they grade things. I look at stats and like deep dives on analytics. I'm like, you can kind of use it to make whatever argument that you want. But I did see this top 10 wide receivers in the 2026 NFL draft, according to Pro Football Focus. There's one Buckeye on the list, and it is Carnell Tate. He appears at number 9, Pat, for top 10 wide receivers in the 2026 NFL draft. I'm like, I don't know if it's because he's a part of this room and Jeremiah Smith is getting all the love and all the hype and all the attention as he should be. But it was a darn big deal when Carnell Tate decided to come back here to Ohio State. He's obviously going to be weaponized, I think, more than we've ever seen him at his time at Ohio State this year. I just want to put a pin. Let's put a pin in Carnell Tate at number 9 and see what happens during this season. But I would think that Brian Hartline would at least get a little bit of runway here, and Carnell Tate could at least have a top 5 ranking before the season.
When I read this, I see that Pro Football Focus is saying that there are 8 other receivers that are also going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
Because we know that that's just what Buckeye receivers do.
Yes, they do.
Look, I think, too, we have to remind ourselves, time of year we are. We've talked about it's list season.
Yep.
And
list season.
if you put an Ohio State guy at number 1, you don't get nearly the outrage from a giant fan base on social media that you do if you put him at number 9. And I'm not saying that that's a conscious thing that people think about, but I'm not saying it's not either. The
majority of the replies to this tweet, Carnell Tate at 9, delete your account. Sorry, but Carnell Tate clears this entire list and is clearly number 1. Like, I'm not here to argue whether or not Carnell Tate is going to be taken number 1, like 1.1 for wide receivers in the NFL draft. I am telling you that he's not the 9th best wide receiver in the country. This of draft eligible guys.
Yeah, and I think too we're here.
Yes,
we're paying attention to Carnell Tate more closely than whoever is making this list, right? National people, I think they are aware of Carnell Tate given some of the things he did last year, but I don't think, we're closer to the situation, so we know how good this kid is, even if we haven't seen it game after game after game like we did with Jeremiah last year. And so I think you give them some grace there of like, okay, well, statistically he did this, and you mentioned the analytics, like it probably just doesn't all add up yet.
Yeah.
And I think it will.
I think it will. I think it will as well.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right.
Let's get to the season and see what happens. Right. Again, put a pin in that. I don't know if Carnell Tate's going to be the 9th wide receiver off the board. If I had to wager on it, I would say no. Coach Locklyn, he joined Carp on his show earlier today. We'll talk about his running backs room for this season. You're going to hear some of that next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
No one knows better than a mom what's right for our kids. But with so many apps and devices, protecting them feels harder than ever. My name is Emily. My husband and I have 3 kids and we live in Strongsville. Ohio needs to act and put parents back in charge by passing a common sense law to require app stores to get parental approval before children download apps.
By requiring parental consent and age verification in the App Store, parents will have a simple, secure, and reliable way to choose what's best for their own kids. That's why Ohio's Fraternal Order of Police and the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation both support this common sense approach.
With one clear place to approve the apps they use, Ohio can put parents back in charge.
Tell your state legislators to pass the App Store Accountability Act now. Learn more at OWLR.org. Paid for by Ohio Women Lead Right.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
T-Bone and Tyvis.
If you were a Cleveland athlete and you did the Mr. Heroes commercial, you were getting cut. They offer you the Mr. Heroes deal. Don't take that.
T-Bone and Tyvis Mornings on the Fan is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny, hot and humid and stormy on this Thursday. Temperatures around 90 degrees, and some of the thunderstorms have very heavy rain and gusty winds. Overnight will stay warm and humid by Friday morning and dry it out. Low to mid-70s to start off your day. And during the day Friday, back in the low 90s, heat index around 100, and again, the chance of late-day storms. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
The only radio show that bleeds scarlet and gray. This is the Buckeye Show.
We are on the Buckeye Show, brought to you by our great friends over at Coors Light. When those mountains are blue, that means that those suckers are as cold as the Rockies. That's right. Who can't go for one right now? 6:18 on a Thursday. Gonna be a weird weather day. You know, if you're at home, have a couple of them. You deserve it. You deserve it. Absolutely do. So you got a busy weekend coming up. You're doing the show on Saturday with Dylan, Fan Sports Saturday. Are you going to be a Columbus Blue Jackets draft expert, Pat?
I'm going to have to be, I think. Or at least I'm going to have to play one on radio.
Yeah, no, you'll be good. You'll be good. Dylan's a good lad. So you can listen to those guys coming up here on Saturday afternoon. Of course, we're not going to be here tomorrow because we do have the NHL draft coming up tomorrow. So Bobby Mack and Dylan will be doing a show live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Over there from Nationwide Arena, which I'm very excited to see what the Jackets can do coming up here. I was listening to the Bobby Carpenter Show a little bit earlier today. I'm on that show tomorrow, so that's going to be a good time. But they had Coach Locklyn, Coach Carlos Locklyn, running backs coach at Ohio State, on their program today. If you are listeners to both this show and that show, just know you will be disappointed by my appearance compared to what Carlos Locklyn had to say, because I had nothing to say compared to what he did. But he was just talking about, Pat, and, we were talking about it a couple of days ago when you were in here, the running backs room, just kind of comparing last year's running backs room and then this year's and what Ohio State is looking at.
I'm excited about the room. James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson, Sam Williams-Dixon, Bo Jackson, Anthony Turbo Rodgers, Isaiah West. I'm excited about all those young men because there's a bunch of unknown. This where the real coaching come out at. We having Trey and Q last year. They were household names. And what people don't realize, I had a prior relationship with Trey and Q. I recruited Trey when I was down there at Florida State, and of course Q is from my hometown. I've been knowing him for a long time, but I'm excited about this particular room because it's unknown. These guys are really good players. They just don't have the household name. They haven't got the opportunity yet.
I think we're all very excited to see the running backs room, and you are very excited and very positive on this running backs room this year.
I was going to say, I'm excited.
I know you are.
Yeah.
That was your one position group.
Yes, I think that this is going to be a really fun group. I think it'll look different than a year ago.
Yep.
And I think that I'm not saying anything that I don't think Carlos Locklyn would agree with, but I think you can still have similar production. Do two guys get 1,000 yards? I don't know. But I think
3.
That would be something. But I do think that, especially if the
Buckeyes, in the T formation.
Wow. Brian Hartline really changing things up.
Yes, he is.
But
we're going back to the wing T.
If they did line up in that.
And I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite homage to years in the past. Yeah. And Chip Kelly did a fantastic job doing that.
Yeah, that was great. But I do think that, especially if they make another deep playoff run, the numbers at the end of the season, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, I think will look similar, maybe even more so with a young quarterback instead of having a fifth-year senior starter.
We talked a lot last year. How do you get both Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins to come, play on the same team when they're both bell cow guys? And I thought this was an interesting explanation from Coach Locke just on how they managed that entire workload between those two guys last year.
I told both of them, we're going to learn how to be one. We're gonna celebrate one another. And guess what? I'm frying the chicken in this room. So let me fry the chicken and you just pay attention to what I'm asking y'all to do. And they both bought into it. But the same thing has gone on. It's a foundation, culture has been laid in that room with those two that James bought into. I tell James all the time, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We live in such a microwave society, and when these kids come out of high school, they think, well, I'm automatically going to jump into college and be successful. No, you got to work. If you come to Ohio State and you're in that running back room, you're gonna work here because I ain't giving you nothing. You're gonna work. So I think that has a big part of what happened in that room. I challenged both of them to work, and I told them that if they listen and trust me, good things are gonna happen. And they played as one. Both of those guys played as one. The same thing I'm telling the guys this year. Number one, you're gonna play special teams. If you don't want to play special teams, you need to go somewhere else because you're going to play special teams here. If you're not in the rotation, you got to play special teams. You want to play ball, play special teams. But those two bought into it. These guys, the coach in the room is set up. They bought into, helping one another, hanging out one another. True, like that Ohio State brotherhood is real. Like I'm talking about that's real. That's how I'm able to manage that room. Because like I said, I'm the biggest personality in there. So I tell them all the time, look, you're gonna do it my way. I'm frying the chicken, you just let me fry it.
We've heard that out of so many coaches, Pat, regardless of position, offense, defense, doesn't matter. You don't participate and you don't do well in special teams, you don't have a place here. Like we've heard that from Brian Hartline. I'm sure we've heard that from James at some point. We've heard that from Carlos Locklyn. Like in order to get on the football field here as a position player, you have to do your part as a special teams guy. And he was just talking about James People and the buy-in, how James Peoples last year said, okay, I understand that. I'm not getting 1,000 yards. I'm not going to carry the ball 150 times, 194 like Q did or 144 like Travion did. But I'm going to do the small things right. And when my time comes, I'm going to make sure I'm the best prepared that I could possibly be. And he sounds like he's super pumped for these guys this year.
This is a kid who, on his first career carry, scored a touchdown for Ohio State. Now, it was in the third quarter of, I think, the Akron game, but the first team offense was in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, he got the handoff from Will Howard. The line was the first team offense. So, that shows you what Carlos Locklyn already thought of him. But then to do what you said and take that back seat and be willing to do it. And look, we didn't hear any sort of talk about him transferring this offseason.
No,
obviously, the opportunity is now there. But he could have gotten disgruntled and decided, hey, I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, you're bringing in a guy from West Virginia? Yeah. What is this all about?
But he understands. And look, I talked with Carlos Locklyn. He said some similar things at the national championship when we were talking about this upcoming season. I talked with James Peoples, and he completely got the whole message. And that idea of it's a marathon, not a sprint, clearly has been put in these guys' minds because you hear something similar from a lot of them that – especially at running back, where every carry, every hit probably shortens your career a little bit.
Yes, it does.
Like, if you don't start as a true freshman, but you still go then have 2 years where you're really productive, okay, you're going to be just fine if you come out of Ohio State.
And I think, too, you have to look at, longevity of that position.
Right.
And we've seen it for so many years. The running back value in the NFL has been devalued. And I want to say it's the lowest outside of tight end, maybe, on the why am I blanking on the term that is used? Like the franchise tag. The franchise tag number is the lowest of any position other than tight end across the NFL, which, 20 years ago, it would have been one of the highest. And I just am so interested to see the idea of a split backfield and elongating these guys' careers and if it's going to work. Because you look last year, it worked like a dream. You won a national championship. Both your guys went in the second round. Both of them had over 1,000 yards. It was a dream scenario. And so I'm wondering now moving forward, not to say that there isn't going to be a back that, carries the ball 300 times again in a full college season for Ohio State. But if the line of thinking says, all right, well, if we can have our strategy be deployed and have a running back by committee where we trust everyone in the room, I'm anxious to see how this works moving forward, because I do feel like, at least for a long-term strategy, it's a pretty good one.
That's exactly what Carlos Locklyn wants to do.
Yeah.
And look, if he got a Derrick Henry, then
giving Derrick Henry the ball 400 times a year.
Right.
Like, you're just doing that.
But I think even then, and even Derrick Henry at Alabama, there were other guys at Alabama that got the ball, not as much as maybe some other years, but I think he really values the idea of keeping everyone involved, keeping guys happy, showcasing for the next guys that this can work. And then, he knows Carlos Locklyn, and I'm not saying that other coaches, whether Ohio State or otherwise, Carlos Locklyn cares about these kids. I mean, kids that don't commit to him, he keeps relationships with. And this is pre-transfer portal.
This is what he was talking about with Trey and Q as well.
Right, exactly. He knew both of those guys. Neither of them were coming to his school, but he kept a relation. It's important. He talked to me once about that he has a group message of former guys he recruited that he every morning sends a scripture passage to and tells them to have a great day and things like that. Some of those guys are playing at other schools right now, schools that play against Ohio State. Last year when he played against, he's still in contact with those Oregon running backs because it's beyond.
Probably has a great relationship with them.
It's beyond the on-field stuff for him. And so he wants to make sure that these guys not only do well for him, but that in the NFL have long, successful careers.
Is anyone aware of Derrick Henry's stat line from 2015 when he won the Heisman? Has anyone looked at this recently? Derrick Henry, rhyme time. Do you want to take a guess at how many carries Derrick Henry had in 2015 when he won his Heisman Trophy? Just a shot in the dark.
Oh, my. I don't even know what a good guess would be. I mean, I think it's got to be a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, no, you are correct in that assessment. It is a lot.
Is it 4 digits?
No, it's not 4 digits. Okay. No, that would be their entire season.
He touched the ball on offense and defense.
They ran Navy's offense that year.
I'll go 550.
Yeah, 395.
Okay.
All right. So, which is, pretty close to 400.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
In today's college football.
To give you a comparison, Quinshawn had 194, Trey had 144. That doesn't come close to the amount of carries that Derrick Henry had.
What did Quinshawn have in his 2 years at Ole Miss?
Quinshawn had in his old years at that too. His 2 years at Ole Miss. Yeah, the old tongue twister for me, Pat. I can't find that right now. I can't find that. You can look it up. But Derrick Henry had 2,219 rushing yards. He averaged 5.5 per carry and 28 touchdowns.
What was the number you said? How many? How many carries?
For Derrick Henry, 395.
Yeah. 395 in 1 year?
Yeah.
In 2 years at Ole Miss, Quinshawn had 545.
Yeah.
He had 274 was his most.
Unless you're getting Derrick Henry 2.0, we're not going to see a running back carry the football near 400 times. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know where my mind was at when I asked.
You said 1,000.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't know where my mind was at with that one.
You were thinking yards.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
He got over 1,000 yards.
Yes, he did. He got over 1,000 yards with ease. And that's why he won the Heisman Trophy. Our guy, AR, he put out a poll the other day about confidence surrounding both the Buckeye football and hoops program. We're going to tell you about that coming up in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We're very close to Buckeye football. Very close. Uncomfortably close. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Just a little over 2 months away. Ohio State and Texas going to be here before you know it. You can join Rothman and Ice tomorrow for a special live broadcast as we kick off the 2025 Beat the Heat Fan Drive. The guys are going to be live from the Westerville Fire Station at 400 West Main Street, and we're asking you to help a neighbor in need. Bring a new box fan to donate, and as a thank you, the first 100 people who drop off a fan are going to receive a pair of tickets to the Cardale Jones charity softball game at Huntington Park on July 19th. Help Central Ohio stay cool this summer. It's the Beat the Heat Fan Drive in partnership with 10 TV at Life Care Alliance and right here on The Fan. I did see as well those guys tomorrow, while they're doing their live broadcast, are going to be having head coach of your Columbus Blue Jackets, Dean Evison, on as well. So they got that to look forward to. That's coming up at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon.
I should probably listen to that to prepare for Saturday.
You should. You should definitely listen to that. Maybe you guys can just have Dean on Saturday.
That's not up to me.
He is very intimidating. He's a very intimidating man, Dean Evison. Used to get to talk to him once a week, and I was scared of him the entire time.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
He's a nice, very nice man, and we had a fantastic relationship, but he called me a silver spooner in the first interview we ever did with him, and then from there on out, I'm like, well, you've just asserted your dominance over me, sir. Now I'm terrified of you.
Well done.
So now you need to have that same exact reputation with him.
All right.
Yeah, 2:30 tomorrow. Those guys going to be having Dino on to preview all things NHL draft coming up tomorrow. I did see AR, speaking of that show. He tweeted this out, Pat, and I believe you were a guest when he tweeted this out.
Yes, he had just thought of this during the commercial break.
He said, you have to make one huge money bet for this season. So the 25-26 college football season and college basketball season. None of my soft-earned dollars here. Which one is it? Ohio State football snaps the University of Michigan streak, okay? Last Saturday of the year, last Saturday in November, post-Thanksgiving, Buckeyes snapped the Michigan streak, or Ohio State hoops makes the NCAA tournament. Again, you have to make one huge money bet for this season. None of my soft-earned dollars, which is a fantastic Rothman OG line. What are you more confident in happening? That the Buckeyes can snap the streak against Michigan, or that they can make the NCAA tournament?
I lean football.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a heavy lean because I think both sides are pretty motivated to get that job done.
Yep.
I think that because Ohio State won the national championship in football last year, this is not the only thing Ryan Day and his staff have left to do, because they'd certainly love to win another national championship. That'd be pretty cool to go back to back.
Yeah, Big Ten championship, and getting back there would be nice.
Yes. A good way to do that is to beat Michigan. And I think that will be something that will be on the minds of these players throughout the season. Not that it isn't or wasn't last year, but I also think that those guys, most of them that were on the roster last year, saw the pain in the eyes of a Jack Sawyer, of a Will Howard, even though he was only there for all those guys, Cody Simon. Yeah, all of those guys that didn't beat Michigan, were set to do it last year, were all ready to go against a underperforming Michigan team. So for me, like, just pure motivation-wise, that's the way I would lean.
I thought that was going to be the case last year, though.
Well,
to be fair,
it should have been.
Yeah, you're right.
If things get called a little differently, but
yeah, that was just such a. And I don't want to have to rehash any of that. It was a bizarro game,
very bizarre.
Yeah.
One of the strangest sporting events I've ever seen, been a part of, whatever you want to call it.
And you've covered a lot. Like, you've gotten to do a lot of different things. You've been covering Ohio State for a long time. You were a crew reporter. Like, you've seen some interesting things. That was one of the more wild days in Ohio State history.
100%.
It was flummoxing.
Right. But I do think that the basketball team, especially having talked to some of these guys here recently, Jake Diebler and a few of the returning players, like that is certainly a motivating factor for them to not go a fourth year without the NCAA tournament. So, like, I think in my mind, the most likely answer is that both things happen.
Ooh.
I think that's a very realistic possibility because I do think, look, you have to go to Ann Arbor. We'll see what Michigan looks like. Probably going to be playing a freshman quarterback. But
it's also on the road. I know that you just mentioned that.
And that's tough. You know, they've lost 2 in a row, obviously, up there. But before that, I think they'd won 4 or 5 straight in Ann Arbor. So, look, it won't be easy. Making the NCAA tournament is not going to be easy for this team with so many new faces and whatnot. But I think both teams are set up well to do it and are heavily motivated to get that job done.
I would lean both. I'm with you on that. I just think that not making the NCAA tournament for 4 straight years is a pretty wild thing, and then not beating Michigan for 5 straight years is almost. Which one's harder to comprehend? I guess
Michigan.
I would agree with that.
Given when we like the era we grew up in.
But also the era that we grew up in Ohio State basketball, Pat. They were ripping off Final Fours and Big Ten championships and all kinds of different things.
True. I just think with football, like, you know, I remember the 90s and some of that, but I was also younger then. So, like, to me, it was just like, that's what you do. You go beat Michigan, right? And I think a lot of people...
wasn't that nice.
Even people that grew up well before then and went through the 90s as, like, diehard fans.
It made it so much better for them.
Well, yes, and I think that they got accustomed to it. And I think with Ohio State basketball, yeah, you had that great run under Thad, but I think most people, just because of the football school nature of it, recognize that wasn't going to be forever. Whereas, like, it looked for a while like Michigan may never win a game against Ohio State again. And
yes, it did.
And if they don't dip out on 2020, that might have been true.
Yeah. I could put 100 on you. That year. That year where they said, we're good. I remember exactly where I was when that game got canceled, and I was very depressed.
I was on a Zoom call talking to the Ohio State players.
Wow.
We broke the news to them.
Did you really?
Yeah,
what was the reaction? I don't remember that at all. I was sitting at home because I think it was it a Thursday that the game was canceled? Yeah. I was sitting at home drinking a Dragon's Milk Stout.
Wow.
And then I went to Savor Pint and got more because I'm like, well, this is so depressing. I don't even know. I'm just going to drink my sorrows away.
Yeah, we were on a Zoom call because that was the era of the Zoom calls. And I forget who, like, we were waiting between players, or maybe it was between coach and players, but whoever it was came on, and the first question was, or the first person that got called on to ask a question was like, hey, I want to let you know they canceled the Michigan game. And the player was just like, well, I don't know anything about that. But that was all we were going to ask. And then I think eventually Jerry was just like, shut it down. It was like, let's end this, and we'll
He didn't even say anything to you guys. He just clicked the camera off. Like, this is pointless of us even to be doing media availability right now.
Right. So, yeah, that was in a period of weird times, that was one of the weirdest.
Yeah, that was strange. And then also not beating them since. It's also weird. We're living in the upside down world.
Right. Well, and like, okay, there's 2 years I think you can at least somewhat put on the sign stealing scandal. Then there was 2 years ago where I think you just had a really good football game in Ann Arbor and Ohio State came out on the wrong side of it.
They won the national championship that year.
Yeah, and like, look, you're driving to win the game, and if Kyle McCord has a little bit more time, he probably completes that to Marvin Harrison, and we're talking about a completely different situation.
Let me ask you this: while we're living in hypothetical world, if Kyle McCord completes that pass to Marv and the Buckeyes go on to win that game, do you ever see Will Howard here at Ohio State?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean, maybe Kyle still. Who knows what happens in the postseason, right? Yeah. So maybe Kyle still decides for similar reasons, but I think that that throw obviously had a big impact, I guess I would say. And I don't want to speak for Will Howard or for Kyle McCord, excuse me, but I definitely think some of the decision making that followed was certainly a contributing factor of that. Yeah. And not just that throw, but just losing that game.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. It's been a rough couple of years. Reimer, what are you going with if you had to wager the vast Rhyme Time estate on this? Are you going Ohio State makes the tournament or Ohio State snaps the streak against Michigan?
I would want to do both, of course. I feel like it will be both, but I would think I would have to lean more football.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot more uncertainty with the basketball team as a whole with the roster. You don't know what you're getting out of the wing, out of the transfers you brought in. And there's still like a lot more at play throughout the year. Like the Big Ten's going to be tough. Not tough non-conference. You got Notre Dame, you got North Carolina on a neutral. So there's a lot more there that can lower your chances at getting into the tournament.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I just think as well with this football team, and it's a totally different team. Each team is different. It's a living, breathing organism. You'll hear coaches say that all the time, that each team is very different. But I think with this football team, that it's really the one thing that they haven't done, the coaching staff. And now the pressure of the national championship is off. Now, it's going to be back when you get to August 30th and you get back into the football season. But for right now, on June 26th, like the pressure to win a championship, that's done. And the one thing, Pat, that could kind of springboard them back would be going up to Ann Arbor in the last weekend of November and winning that football game.
Yeah, you got to get the monkey off your back. Yeah. It was the same as when Michigan was losing all the games in a row. I remember being at Big Ten Media Days in 2021 and the players there talking about, like, we just have to get it done. And we've changed our approach and all this, and they did.
And we're stealing signs now.
And that was part of it. But I don't know if they knew that or not. But, once you do it, then I think you feel everything changes. It's like winning the national championship for Ryan Day and those guys, right? So I think it happens.
Aaron Rodgers is excited to mentor Will Howard, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Your neighborhood Kroger pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer update. See your Kroger pharmacy for details.
Matty Ice here. When I needed a new Chevy, I headed to McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Right now, get up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 25 Silverado LD. They've got no market adjustments, no hidden costs, and sales managers are on the floor ready to help. That's been the McDaniel difference since 1916. They're just a short drive north off Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Trust. It's something we all value, but also something that's hard to earn, especially when it comes to your home. In a city like Columbus with so many contractors to choose from, how do you know who to trust with one of your biggest investments? At Newman Roofing, we believe trust starts with character and continues with consistent results. As a family-owned and operated company, we built our reputation on hiring good people, value-driven professionals who treat your home with the same care and respect they'd give their home. Our team is committed to delivering a true white glove experience. That means paying attention to the details, communicating clearly, and doing the job right the first time. We use only the highest quality products, installed with precision and backed by proven techniques. That's how we ensure you'll feel confident not just today, but for years to come. And we don't just ask you to take our word for it. With over 770 five-star reviews on Google, you can read story after story from homeowners just like you who trusted Newman Roofing and had their expectations exceeded. When it comes to roofing, gutters, or siding, call the local company built around family, values, and integrity. Newman Roofing. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Someone out there probably thinks we spend too much time talking about the Buckeyes. Please tell someone that they're stupid. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
Usually like to have the NFL Network on in here. I think for whatever reason, last night it was the 28-3 Super Bowl comeback from the Patriots, of course, against the Falcons.
Right.
Tonight they're playing a divisional round game from, I don't even know what year it was. I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, that kind of looks familiar. It's the Eagles and it's the Saints. I'm like, is this the Brian Dawkins decapitation of Reggie Bush game? And it turns out it is. So that's what's on NFL Network right now. And I had to go to YouTube to watch that hit because it's one of the most bone-crunching hits of all time. I was not aware because I wanted to see if the hit was coming up on actual TV or not. That Brian Dawkins hit against Reggie Bush, which Reggie has talked about that openly. Like, that was the hardest hit I've ever taken in my life. I thought I was dead. Like, I thought that he had killed me on the football field. It was the very first play of the football game. I didn't know that. I've never looked at the score bug before. I just look at Brian Dawkins coming in like an absolute missile. But yeah, that's the very first play of the divisional round back in whatever year that was. You want to talk about a way to start a game. That's about as good as you get.
Setting the tone.
Oh, man. Brian Dawkins. What a guy. What a guy he was.
Yeah. Reminds me of when our friend Schlegel took out the fan on no pads.
That.
Maybe not quite as hard of a hit.
My buddy was at the tailgate that he was at before the game. The man who you're talking about who got lifted off the ground and driven 10 feet into the Ohio Stadium turf. Yeah, they were at the same pregame party. And then, safe to say, my friend did not run out on the football field and get choke slammed by Schlegs. But unfortunately for the other man, he did. Yeah, that's also Mount Rushmore, one of the hardest hits I've ever seen, too.
Oh, yeah. Especially, like, again, no pads.
You got a hit that stands out to you, like when someone says, you know, you got jacked up. Remember that segment back in the day? It was great. I don't know if you could probably bring that back. But you got one that stands out to you, like the Brian Dawkins, Reggie Bush, or Schlegs taking that guy down?
No, the Schlegs one was just because it's so strange to see a guy who, you know, a former football player who's currently on staff just powerbomb.
And not only that, he got down on the ground after he does this and then, like, drags him off the field and throws him.
Yeah, the hit against, what was it, Devin Gardner in the Michigan game where one of the Bourne brothers just stands over him. I don't actually know how hard the hit was,
but it's an iconic picture.
Yeah, that picture is great.
What about Sean Taylor against the punter in the Pro Bowl?
Oh yeah,
that's a nice one.
Yeah, Sean Taylor you go back to that era of football, and there's a lot of those, right?
Yes, there are.
Yes,
there's a ton of those.
It's a different day.
You have one, Reimer?
Yeah, the one that comes to mind to me is Jadeveon Clowney in the is it the Outback Bowl?
Yeah, I think it was
against Michigan.
Popping the Michigan running back
ultimate ball don't lie moment.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That's what got him drafted number 1 overall. It was like that play. I'm convinced of it. Was that you can always you can hop on the YouTube chat if you're watching just one play that like screams out to you hardest hits. But yeah, that game's right now is on NFL Network, which is a great time. We didn't get to see the hit live, but thankfully for the power of YouTube, everything stays.
Denzel Ward.
Woo! You got barbecue back there? That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one in Buckeye lore for sure. I was listening to a little bit of Aaron Rodgers, all right? Love him, hate him. Enigma, his Netflix documentary, which I have not watched, is now on the same football team as Will Howard. All right?
Yes.
Pittsburgh Steelers. They're all in the quarterback room together. And Pat McAfee asked Aaron Rodgers about Will Howard and what his strategy is going to be mentoring Will. And here was Aaron Rodgers talking about that.
Well, I think even though I come in with 20 years of experience and 17 as a starter, like, there's still a part of earning your stripes and paying your dues. And even though, I come in with that, that past and that background, I think it's important to, to come in with humility. So that's what I've been trying to do with the guys. And in the quarterback meetings, and I told Tom Arthur, quarterback coach, this, I'm not going to speak up. I'm not going to slow things down. I'm going to study back at the hotel room and ask you questions on the side. I'm not going to interrupt the room. However, as we get into this, I want to help those guys out. Mason's played a lot of football, so does Sky, but Will's a rookie. And so I pulled him aside during one of the days, and I said, listen, I want to help you as much as possible, but I'm not going to overstep my bounds. If you want assistance, I'm here, buddy. I want to help you. From the playbook of my own mistakes and things that I needed to learn from, that's where everything's going to come from. And if I can help you become a better player this year, that would be an incredible achievement for me. Because number one, he's a real good kid. I mean, he's a sweet kid, and he's had a lot of great success, at the college level. But I was impressed by him. Obviously, he worked once the rookies came out in May. I thought he looked really sharp. He made a bunch of great throws. I think there's definitely some things I can help him with, and some things that are different at the pro level. And I'd love to help Will and set him up to have a chance to be the guy for the next who knows how long.
That's a very nice thing for Aaron Rodgers to say in a time where Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have a lot nice things to say about a lot of people. He is a very interesting human being, Aaron Rodgers, but it's nice to know that if Will Howard needs anything from him, you want to talk about football guy who's been there, who has done that. Aaron Rodgers has accomplished just about everything you can at the professional football level, and having that brain to lean on for Will Howard is nothing but a great resource.
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting because if you look at Aaron Rodgers' career, he's taken very much the Brett Favre path. Obviously, they were connected in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the Jets. Now he's at another team for probably a year or so. So the one thing he hasn't clearly taken from Brett was not helping his backup quarterbacks because Favre was infamous for that, especially when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and he just
listen. I mean, it's a tightrope, right?
Sure.
It's a tightrope because you're still out there competing, and Aaron Rodgers has come out and said, like, this is probably it for me. This is probably going to be my one and done, like my final season. And if you're in your final season and you have a rookie quarterback there who is willing to go off of his comfort zone and ask you some questions to help him out, like if it wasn't this year, then it's probably never going to happen for Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
By the way, Anthony in the YouTube chat just blew my mind. The hit against Reggie Bush was not Brian Dawkins. I've attributed that Reggie Bush hit to Brian Dawkins for basically my entire life.
You were just watching it. Did you not see who it was?
It doesn't say. I typed in Brian Dawkins Reggie Bush hit, and all the title of the YouTube video says Reggie Bush gets jacked up. Good quality NFL hits. It doesn't say who hit him. I have attributed that hit my entire life to Brian Dawkins, and I was wrong. I was wrong.
Who was it?
It was Sheldon Brown.
Oh.
It's not Brian Dawkins.
That is a different human. It also kind of makes it less exciting.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it makes it less exciting.
I liked the idea that it was Brian Dawkins.
I did too. Brian Dawkins against Reggie Bush. That literally blew my mind. But back to Will Howard. It's a good situation that Will's in, right?
Yes.
Because there's not immediate pressure to go out there and be thrown in unless something happens injury-wise to the Steelers, where you find that, Pat. But a good year for him to sit there, hang out, collect all of his thoughts, learn at the speed at which the NFL games moves. I think it's a good situation for Will.
I think that it is perfect because you talk about guys like your guy, Caleb Williams, and my old guy, Jared Goff, have both talked about their rookie years not knowing what to do to go watch film, and it's just different, and like having to go sit in that room by yourself at 4 a.m. or whenever you're doing it. You're just watching it, but maybe you don't know what to watch. Things like that are going to be really important for Will to learn this year while he has a guy like Aaron Rodgers with him. Not to say that he, couldn't learn from other guys or whatnot,
Sure.
but that's a really good one. And I think what Aaron said about he doesn't want to overstep his bounds, and I know Will has responded to that in interviews saying, like, tell me whatever you want, man. But I think
Tell me about that darkness retreat.
Yeah,
and the
maybe,
ayahuasca.
Maybe not the ayahuasca,
Yeah.
but whatever, teach their own. But I do think that it is on Will to really make the best of this season. Maybe he doesn't play a single snap, and maybe that's the best thing for him. Maybe he does. We'll see. But to go to Aaron, to talk with him, watch him closely on everything he does, because not only has he been successful, other than the Achilles injury, he's had a very long career.
Yes, he has.
How is he taking care of his body? What is he doing? I would be in his ear all the time asking questions if I were Will Howard.
You don't want those answers, Pat. That's the real reason.
You don't have to do everything he did. You
Yes.
just can learn what he did and then decide what works for you.
Who screams Pittsburgh Steeler more to you, Jack Sawyer or Will Howard? Because both of them, they scream for whatever reason, football guy like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I guess Will, just because I know he's from Pennsylvania and that's just kind of baked into my brain, whereas I know Jack's from down the road. But I think they both make a lot of sense. Both picks, it was like, yep.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, the Steelers did it again.
Yeah, they did exactly what everybody thought they were going to do. Conferences can find any reason at all to make a dime. We'll tell you about it in the College Football Pulse next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Tinny.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings. Because you're driving to Paris.
Texas!
Then it's off to Rome.
Georgia!
And you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin.
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership is better than ever. Save up to $1,100 each year on gas, groceries, delivery fees, and streaming options. With double fuel points, unlimited free delivery, and exclusive savings for members, there's so much to love about Boost. Sign up for a Boost membership today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts. And for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good evening. I'm Jacob Reimer. We are still a day away from the NHL draft, and the Columbus Blue Jackets are already making roster moves. Earlier today, they agreed to a trade with the Florida Panthers to send goaltender Daniil Tarasov
to the Stanley Cup champions. And in return, the Blue Jackets will receive a 5th-round pick tomorrow. Tarasov played in 65 games in Columbus, and the Blue Jackets also reacquired forward Brendan Gaunce in a trade they made with the Minnesota Wild today. The Ohio State football team made some noise on the recruiting front today, landing 2026 offensive tackle Aaron Thomas. He becomes the 4th offensive lineman committed to Ohio State. Thomas chose the Buckeyes over Texas A&M, Florida State, Washington, and Texas. The Cleveland Guardians were shut out this afternoon in the rubber match of their series with the Toronto Blue Jays, 6-0. They'll begin a weekend home series with the St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow, and an off day for the Reds tonight as they get ready for a weekend series with the Padres. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour 2 for us here on a Thursday. Before we get to the College Football Pulse, I want to acknowledge everyone in the YouTube chat. A lot of Andy Katzenmoyer against Missouri, which is an iconic hit for sure in Buckeye lore. And then I'm reading through the chat again. Still can't believe that wasn't Brian Dawkins that nearly decapitated Reggie Bush. Again, thanks, Anthony, for he goes, I'm a lifelong Eagles fan. I remember it like it was yesterday. Thanks for awakening my mind because, like I said, I had attributed that hit to Brian Dawkins for mostly my entire life since it happened. Shane said Josh Proctor on the Wisconsin quarterback to end the game. Yeah, there were 2 seconds left. I just fired up YouTube and watched that one as well. They were trailing in the game. There was not going to be a victory from Wisconsin. And Josh Proctor said, no, sir, you're not crossing this end zone. Actually, you're going to be about 3 yards short, and you're going to have a headache for the rest of next week.
Yes, I was standing on the field at the end of that game. I remember staring down the sideline watching that. And bam.
Yeah. A little thunder, a little lightning.
Yeah, you heard it. In that stadium, which was not very loud at that point.
It was pretty gnarly. So keep them coming in here. Just big hits that, you get pumped up about football season. A little over 2 months away from Ohio State taking on Texas. Rhyme time. Happy Thursday, buddy.
Yeah, happy Thursday to you, Beamer.
What's happening over there? What you got for us tonight?
Not much. So we didn't get to this yesterday, but first we had Florida State's quarterback Thomas Castellanos making headlines with his comments about Alabama, saying they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me. Now South Carolina QB Lenoris Sellers chimes in, saying Alabama is still Alabama to me.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go about things.
Even if you don't think it.
Yeah, just don't. There's some things you shouldn't say out loud, and I think
you're poking the bear.
Yes, you are, and I think it was Tim May who we had in here on Monday, and we were talking about this when this all came out from Thomas Castellanos. Like, you are poking the bear, and I know that a lot of college football fans had fun at the expense of Alabama last year, okay? Like, what's the world going to look like in the post-Nick Saban era? And then you get Thomas Castellanos again, who we'll find out, find out what that game looks like with Florida State and Alabama being week number 1. But I've endeared myself to Lenoir Sellers. I think he's going to have a very good year this year. That's exactly what you say when you know that either you have Alabama or don't have Alabama on the schedule. You give your opponents their respect and say, listen, they've still won more national championships in my lifetime than any other teams combined.
Right. And I think this is a bit of the modern college football guys can talk everywhere podcasts. Like in the past, you have SIDs and guys are only talking when they're supposed to, and they kind of know what to say, what not to say. Every once in a while, you get a soundbite like that. But now everybody has a podcast. These guys are on podcasts all the time. There's no monitoring of it. And it's great because it leads to content, but it also leads to some questionable statements, and this appears to be the most recent one.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about bulletin board material.
For sure.
Like 1,000%.
Well, did Alabama need that? Like, it's a big game. Obviously, Florida State will be motivated coming off of the disastrous season they had last year, but like Alabama, and again, I know it was under Nick Saban, but like they are notorious for going into these games and just destroying whatever's
in front of them.
Yeah, what other ranked team they have. And look, I don't know. I don't believe that Alabama's going to go on another run like they did without Nick Saban. But
it would almost be impossible to do nowadays in college football for any team, let alone Alabama, to do that.
Right. But I just don't think you need to create any more motivation for them going to week 1.
Yeah, and Alabama visits South Carolina this year. So Lenoir Sellers, when you get into the week of October 25th, just stay that game plan.
Right.
All right? Stay the game plan. Unless Bama is this year's Florida State where they've only won like one game at that point of the year, then you can have all the fun you want. and hopefully you come out and win. But yeah, that was a big W by Lenore Sellers for sure.
That's like when Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, he had some comments a couple weeks ago.
The difference between that and what Thomas Castellanos is doing is Diego Pavia beat Alabama. So he has a little bit of ground to stand on.
Right.
Thomas Castellanos got benched and then said, I was the best player in the ACC and, I was taking charge. And then you go back and you look at some of the stats, Pat, like I know that you did, and his backup at Boston College after he got benched was markedly better than what he was. So it's, I don't know, apples and oranges. Diego Pavia, we were having some fun with that conversation too, but he did it. Credit to him. Vanderbilt did beat Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the upset of the season last year, or one of them, I guess. Yeah. And I think when you do something it's like when Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M, you're allowed to run your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, because they were the first unranked team to beat Nick Saban, I think, at that point, right?
I think so, yeah. So I would have, if this came next offseason, talking about Alabama in retrospect after Florida State wins, fine.
Yeah.
It's still interesting.
After the game, if you want to say it, if you win, go ahead. But they had an awful year last year, and him personally did not have a great year.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens in that game. But I'm starting to believe that Alabama will have a lot of fun with Florida State when we get to the opening weekend.
It's like Ryan Williams saying it's like beating an ant with a sledgehammer.
Exactly. And that's an appropriate response from him as well. Good job. What else you got for us, Rhyme Time?
So with the new revenue sharing on its way, the Big 12 and the Big 10 are getting after it, announcing a new partnership with PayPal to pay out their student athletes. Could you guys see this more from other conferences to pay their student athletes?
I think it's a great idea for fundraising. I think it's a great idea. I mean, conferences are turning over every stone to make sure that there's dollars and cents coming into the conference and opening up different revenue streams. And the thing that I like most about this is that you know that you are paying your players directly. Well, we're going to go to old PayPal and say, hey, how many dollars can you get to slap a corporate tag on actually paying these NIL deals out? It's unique. It's creative. I give them credit for that.
Yeah, good for them for coming up with something different and trying something new in this era. I have personal issues with PayPal because they once told me that I had money that I didn't, and I owed them a bunch of money.
Oh,
and
no.
I had to go through bank statements and all this stuff, and eventually it got worked out. I got sent money, and then it got recalled by the other person's bank.
Okay.
And then it was a family member sending me money, and then PayPal basically, because the money got pulled back, tried to charge me twice, more or less. So I had to go through my bank, and they were able to talk to PayPal, and it took like a year and a half to get this sorted out.
Pat.
So I am not I still use PayPal now that it's fixed, but I still have my issues. It's just easy when it pops up on the thing, and it's like, oh, just pay with PayPal.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do.
So,
more of a Venmo guy, but...
Right, but not every place does that. And more now, and now they have commercials. But I guess PayPal has Will Ferrell, right?
I don't know. Do they?
I think he's the one who sings the songs in the commercials.
Well, they also have Brett Yormark and Tony Petitti now as well.
Well, good for them. I think it's an interesting idea.
Yormark said July 1 starts rev share with our student athletes. A long time coming and well-deserved from a conference perspective. But I speak beyond just the Big 12. I speak for all college athletes. We need a reliable payment platform to distribute money to our student athletes. What happens if a student athlete gets double charged for something? Then they have to go through a year and a half of litigation from PayPal.
That's true. And what have people done for years and years and years as players, as professionals have been paid? I assume the direct...
Yes, ACH, just direct
right.
to my bank account.
The direct deposit works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, again, I think it's an interesting idea.
We got time for one more here, Reimer.
All right, so Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik is handing out respect, saying that he has so much more respect for players who stay loyal. He adds guys like Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, and Ty Simpson, the guys that believe in the program and believe in the culture that they're at. There's a reason that those are four of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. Do you guys feel this way as well?
I do think there is something to be said nowadays in college football with a quarterback, who stays their entire career with one place, because it's hard to find now. Guys, if they have a success maybe at a lower level or a middling Power 4 conference, or you saw it the opposite, where Kyle McCord transferred from Ohio State and then went to Syracuse and had great success at Syracuse this past year. I do think there is something to be said about a 4-year guy, a 3-year guy, 5-year guy at one school. To his point, though, Arch Manning, Texas guy, came in, sat the bench. It's the first time we're going to see him as a starter, really, for an entire year. Garrett Nussmeier, you look at him down at LSU. Drew Aller, who we mentioned at Penn State. Like, these guys have been through trials and tribulations, and now there are massive expectations on each and every one of their programs this year.
I don't know if there's a better quarterback to say this, given that Clemson doesn't use the transfer portal the way that other schools do. I will just
He's dabbling, though. Dabo, he started to wander into the portal a little bit.
Correct. I will be interested to see if Cade Klubnik feels this way once he gets to the pros. And like, oh, I have the opportunity to hit free agency, or do I re-sign with team who drafted me? That's not exactly what he's saying, but we're in a similar situation. But I do agree with his premise. Like, I think it's great when guys stick it out, but I also understand the Devin Browns of the world who wanted to be loyal, lost 2 quarterback jobs or quarterback competitions, and recognized, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to go do it someplace else.
I understand the Kyle McCords of the world.
Yes.
I understand the Will Howards of the world. Like, every story is unique. I don't necessarily think that I understand the Nico Iamaleava situation. I don't necessarily love that one, and that could have been a veiled shot at Nico too, from Cade Klubnik, given the offseason that Nico himself had. But for the majority of the circumstances, Pat, that you were just talking about, like, I understand the situation in which transfer quarterbacks find themselves in. You got to go to a new home, whether bigger or smaller expectations, and then you ultimately find your way. I think the Buckeyes will be looking at one SEC team particularly close over the next couple of years. I'll tell you why coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Bishop and Friends.
She was in the throes of it, or either just finished or about to commence the throes of it. Yeah, I did see it. Probably just leave it at that. I did see it.
Bishop and Friends, sponsored by Diamond Seller.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on The Fan.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny, hot and humid and stormy on this Thursday. Temperatures around 90 degrees, and some of the thunderstorms have very heavy rain and gusty winds. Overnight will stay warm and humid by Friday morning and dry it out. Low to mid 70s to start off your day. And during the day Friday, back in the low 90s, heat index around 100, and again, the chance of late day storms. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
We here at The Fan believe there's no such thing as too much Ohio State coverage. You're locked into the Buckeye Show.
Coming up at 8 o'clock this evening, we'll get you whiskey away to the NBA draft. What are we looking at day 2, Reimer?
I am looking to see where Ryan Nembhard gets drafted.
Okay.
From Gonzaga.
All right.
Averaged nearly 10 assists per game last year and has a very, very smart basketball on-court knowledge.
Okay.
That I think will be a nice piece for somebody.
Basketball IQ guy. Would you like him as you're donning your Los Angeles Lakers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt tonight?
Yeah, if he plays any way like his brother in terms of that hustle.
Absolutely does.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't watch a ton of Gonzaga last year, but I did watch him a little bit. And, yeah, that would be a good one. I don't think he will still be around when the Lakers pick.
Probably.
They did trade up with the Bulls, but I don't.
You guys are keeping me up to date with everything in the NBA draft, which is nice.
Do you know who went number 1 overall?
I do know that Cooper Flagg went number 1 overall.
Do you know who went number
Dallas
2?
No.
He's a Big Ten guy.
I was watching the Crew game when I got home last night, Pat. No, I wasn't watching the draft.
Yeah, me. I was at the Crew game. I still know who.
I don't need to know that. I do the Buckeye Show, all right? I don't need to know who went number 2 in the draft. Although I did see Rutgers had 2 players taken inside of the top 10?
One of them was to the Spurs.
Ron Harper Jr.
No.
Okay. So I did see this about Cooper Flagg, though, which really astonished me, all right? Like, blew my mind when I saw this. So Cooper Flagg, his rookie contract is $63 million, all right? Dallas Mavericks picked him number 1 last night. A second deal for Cooper Flagg, the Supermax deal in the NBA for him at that point, in 2029, he could reach Supermax eligibility extension off of this contract, would be $359 million by that time in the NBA. Turn around 5 years later, if he signed another Supermax deal at 2034, so then at that point he would be a 9-year NBA veteran. His Supermax deal in 2034 would be $500 million. Cooper Flagg, if he plays out his rookie contract and then gets 2 Supermax deals, would be 31 years old with a grand total of on-court earnings of $930 million before turning the age of 32.
Well, but he's going to the Dallas Mavericks, and we know that they don't like to pay Supermax guys.
Yes, but someone will pay a Supermax deal.
Well, but that's the issue with the Supermax.
Right, you have to have team control. And
yes.
They will trade him for Anthony Davis.
46-year-old Anthony Davis, who has left Dallas and then comes back.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. But I saw that yesterday, and my
That's
eyeballs,
insane,
my
man.
eyeballs about popped out of my skull
For sure.
when I saw that. He'd be 32 years old with $930 million in the bank. Yeah, not necessarily sure if he's going to be in Dallas that long, but we'll see what happens. Pat, are you familiar with the Florida renovation project that they're doing to Ben Hill Griffith Stadium down there at the Swamp?
I have become recently more familiar with it ahead of this show.
Yeah, just because I put it on the prep sheet.
That's it.
Florida's been actively working on the idea of renovating the Swamp for the past several years. I was reading this from On3. Athletics Director Scott Strickland provided an update earlier this week on what he's calling, quote, the most ambitious project in the history of college football. The man at the Florida job talked to the football podcast down at Gator Nation, and he spent more than an hour talking about what the renovations are going to be. Here's what he had to say. He said, I can tell you that from a fan standpoint, you're going to have the same experience in the bowl, in the stadium. It's going to be louder. The concourses are going to be wider. They'll have more and better concessions, more and better restrooms. The outside's going to look a lot more unified. The video boards are going to be bigger. They're going to be wider. You'll have more square footage. You'll have more ribbon boards. You'll have better audio. Everything that touches a fan, they'll be able to enjoy. There will also be a new structure built to accommodate some of the seat loss that the ADA code will impact. But it's going to be the most ambitious project in the history of college athletics. And I think it's going to be a model. Once we accomplish it, that all these schools that have 100-year-old stadiums are going to come and look at and try to figure out how we did it. Because I think it's going to be really impactful, and it's something that the Gators are going to feel really good about for a long time. If I'm Ross Bjork, and knowing that renovations and updates are needed to Ohio Stadium, which he has been open and adamant about, and you're going to see it on a year-by-year basis, I think we talked about that a little bit earlier on in the week, Pat, I would be calling Scott Strickland, the athletic director of Florida, almost every month, seeing how things are going down there for them. Because you want to talk about the Swamp? Yeah, it's iconic. Is it as old as Ohio Stadium? Not in its current situation. But it is an iconic venue. It's an iconic building. It is not new by any means. If you're able to do something like that with the Swamp, then there would be no reason why you wouldn't be able to do something like that at Ohio Stadium.
Agreed, 100%. And I guess my only thing is it's great to say this stuff now.
Yes.
And you see this with stadiums a lot, unless you're talking about like Jerry Jones or one of these owners that just has absurd money. But you hear a lot of talk about things, and does it always deliver? Sometimes. Like, I've been out to SoFi out in Los Angeles. That place is incredible. That's a professional stadium. We're talking about something different. Yeah. So can this get done? If it does in the way that he's saying it, yeah, I think he's right. There are plenty of stadiums that need refinished, refurbishing, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you know, Penn State right now is in the process of doing that at Beaver Stadium. They tore down the press box and won't have a press box for the next couple of years because they're doing work on that side of the stadium. So
Michigan did it a couple of years ago, right?
And how do you make it? The biggest obstacle I think these athletic departments are facing is it's so good watching on TV right now, right?
It is.
You watch the Buckeye games at home?
I do. I watch the games at home, and then I come in here during halftime, and I watch the second half on TV.
Right. And for a fan, okay, I don't have to leave my house.
I listen to it on the radio, actually. I've listened to Paul and Jim while the football game is on.
That's awesome. Does it time up okay?
I'm so little inside baseball here. So I sit in the chair that you're sitting in right now, and I usually have double barrel Ohio State games on unless there's another game of importance that I also want to watch. The live audio that we get at the radio station is about 20 seconds ahead of the actual play on the TV. Tim hates it. Like, he sits in another room and watches it, and because he can't be in here when Paul and Jim are talking and then look up. For me, I'm like, all right, I need to know what to look for, so I use it as a little helper. When I hear Paul and Jim describe it 20 seconds, then I see the play and what I should be watching. So I use it to help me out in the post-game coverage. That's how I at least like to think of it. But yeah, so that's what my game day looks like.
That's how when I go back and watch the games after the fact, I pull up the play-by-play so I know what's coming on each play. So interesting you say that. But I think the experience of watching on TV, not having to pay that money, being able to sit in a climate-controlled living room on your couch.
Go to the bathroom, it takes 5 seconds.
Yep, you grab whatever you want out of the fridge, all that.
5 seconds.
Somehow stadiums need to find a way to draw fans in that isn't just, hey, you get to see it live, right? Yeah. So how do you do that? Well, you need to have some of the perks that you've seen in these newer stadiums. And it's hard to do in a place like, we'll just use Ohio Stadium as an example, but the Swamp is also an older stadium.
Yeah,
Like,
1930 it was built.
How do you change that without completely tearing it down and building it back up?
I don't know.
It's difficult.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how you do that. But I would be, if I'm Ross Bjork, I'm calling down there to Scott Strickland and be like, hey, what are you guys exactly doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you broke ground in Ohio Stadium in 1921. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium opened in 1930. So they're not too far apart. Different iterations, obviously, of the stadiums from when back in the day when they were built to what they are now. To you, I mean, you go to the games. You know, you're in the press box. You're down on the field. You see everything that goes on to the games. If you had to change one thing about Ohio Stadium, what would it be currently that's needed?
I think it's so different for us because we're almost in like
outer space.
It's like we're in the best of both worlds. Like the bathroom's right behind where I sit.
Yeah.
There's food in there most of the time.
It's warm when it's cold.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's cold when it's warm.
Right. So we get a pretty cushy situation. But from having gone to Ohio Stadium as a fan back in the day, talking to friends who still do, like the bathroom and the food lines. Those are
it, right? That's usually the biggest concern.
Right. And then I think you can, the atmosphere, that's something Ross Bjork talked about recently. How do you get that up to a level that's even better than what it is? And then some of the bells and whistles. But, Ross Bjork talked about like the concession stands or the concourse. Well, they've got like dumpsters and stuff that they have. Okay, get that out of there.
Yeah.
They got to figure out a place to put that. Then you can open things up more. Okay, now we have more egress. What's the
egress and degress.
Yeah, whatever it is. People moving through easily. I had a friend who was at a game it was her first Ohio State game. I hadn't seen her in a while, and I went and walked around at halftime. And it took me all of halftime to get around the closed end of the shoe to over where her seats were. And there's 100,000 people there. So you expect
it's a lot.
that. But how can you make it better? That's always, I think that is the consistent question that you're going to have to answer with these stadiums.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, for everybody who's out there and who goes to the Ohio State football games, I think it's something that very important that you mentioned, Pat. And it's just, if I want to go and get 2 Coors Lights, I want to get one for me and I want to get one for my wife, or if I just want to have 2 by myself.
I was going to say, let's be
If I want to double fist the Coors Lights, I don't want to have to miss half a quarter if I'm going to do that.
Right.
So I don't know if it's, I know that they do this at the Crew Stadium. I know that they do this at the Blue Jacket Stadium. If it's contactless payment where you just walk in, like you scan a card and then you just walk out with your drinks and your soda pops. I don't know how you address the bathroom situation. I'm not exactly sure. I wouldn't want to be the person to tackle that, but that's a real issue. Like you can waste half a quarter standing in line to use the bathroom.
There are ways to make it better. I don't know if you can ever make it perfect.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Lower.com Field where the Crew play. To be fair,
it's 20,000,
yes.
Which is 1/5 of 100,000.
Right. But in and out of those bathrooms, it's so smooth. There are enough. You're hardly ever waiting in line. And I've been to other similar sized soccer stadiums. There's one down in Cincinnati that the bathroom situation there is horrid. And why are 2 similar stadiums? Why did one figure that out and one didn't? Okay, what works at Crew Stadium that we can then use to at least make it better at Ohio Stadium? Because, again, the whole point of this is to get people to the stadium and have the best possible time they can. And, yes, it's an iconic stadium. Yes, you're watching the Buckeyes. But some people, they're going to need a little bit more, and you have to make it as easy for them to do the things they want to do, like you're saying, as possible.
Be fascinating to see if Florida pulls this off.
Yeah, absolutely.
A college football undertaking like we've never seen before. Again, stadium opened in 1930. It is 95 years old. Best of luck to them down in Gatorland. We've got a Hall of Famer come to CJ Stroud's defense. That's coming up in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings. Because you're driving to Paris.
Texas!
Then it's off to Rome.
Georgia!
And you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin.
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
All Buckeyes, all the time. You are listening to the Buckeye Show.
Our guy, the Murph Dog, Patrick Murphy, hanging out tonight. We're not going to be here tomorrow because the NHL draft is going on. You can join us tomorrow night for the Blue Jackets draft special right here on The Fan. Bobby Mack, Dylan Tyre. They're going to be live from Nationwide Arena as the Jackets look to add some exciting new talent to the lineup. It all starts tomorrow night at 6. The Blue Jackets draft special, sponsored by Ohio Health, only right here on The Fan. Then you can hear Pat on Saturday afternoon talk to Dylan about all the exciting Blue Jackets draft picks.
Breaking it all down like a real expert.
You can tell Dylan about the crew, and then he can tell you about the Blue Jackets.
We've already talked about some ideas. We'll definitely talk Blue Jackets, unless there's absolutely. What if they just trade away all their picks and don't do anything? But I guess that's a topic in and of itself.
They could, and you're correct about that, because that would be a big topic if they just traded away their picks and get somebody in return.
They just get new picks for next year.
For next year, yeah. We're actually sending away all our picks this year for next year's draft. Then you won't have to talk about it, Pat. Then you won't have to break down some sort of international Yugoslavian skater.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I accept the challenge. Like, I pay attention to the Blue Jackets on a very minor scale. So I know, like,
don't worry, enough. Dylan pays attention a lot.
Yeah, so we'll be fine. We'll be fine. You keep telling me that, so I'm believing it.
I'm just trying to work you up for Saturday. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, Rhyme Time, what's up?
They do have a 5th round pick that they got today.
They do. Mm-hmm. They do.
They made a trade.
They definitely traded. What was the goalie's name? You did such a good job on the updates. Come on, give it to me again.
Daniil Tarasov.
There you go. Good job. You can ask Dylan if that means it's Jet Greaves time on Saturday when you do the show with him.
All right.
Because I'm sure they'll be talking about that a lot tomorrow with Elvis and Jet and what are they looking at. So all kinds of good stuff coming up here this weekend and tomorrow night for the draft special. Peyton Manning came to the defense of C.J. Stroud and his doubters following the 2024 season with Houston. Now, it was a little bit of a letdown for CJ compared to what he did in his rookie year. You want to talk about, a star being born in first year, rookie year, unbelievable year from CJ Stroud in his rookie season down in Houston. Then he had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but that's all right. The NFL is difficult to play in. Peyton Manning was at Fanatics Fest, and here's what he said about CJ Stroud. He said, I always think how hard it is as a rookie to play. CJ kind of obviously, it's not that hard because he dominated as a rookie. And what did he do? It gives defenses more film to look at, to know what they have to try to do to try to stop him in his second year, right? As a rookie, they don't know what you're doing. But guess who gets to figure out what defenses are doing? CJ does by watching film. Everybody wants to judge right away. Oh, great, rookie year, second year, not as good. By the way, he went to the playoffs his second year. He was 22. Let's be careful saying that it was a down year, okay? I didn't win a playoff game till my 6th year, right? So here's 2 for 2, and he's 2 for 2, and that's all he's trying to do is give the Texans a chance. He's a great leader. You have a new coordinator as well, and with D'Amico leading the charge, there's going to be tremendous accountability and talent and just leadership every single year. So there's my ESPN2 analysis on this. He threw for 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, and a 64% completion percentage in last season. It was a better season that he had in his rookie season. But to have a Hall of Famer and Peyton Manning come to your defense, that's about as good as it gets for CJ.
That's pretty cool, for sure. Yeah. And as you were saying the stats, I was just pulling it up because I was like, I know he had a worse year.
He had a good year.
But it was still, very good. 3,227 yards.
I would kill for a quarterback that was able to put up those numbers.
His rookie year set the bar so high.
Yeah.
And they still, I think, went 10-7 both years, right?
Yeah, they did.
They made the playoffs, which they hadn't done since 2019, back-to-back years as well. So, look, I think Peyton's exactly right on this, and teams knew what to expect from CJ. Now CJ has to continue to evolve his game. I think you make a good point. You, Browns fans,
There are a lot of teams in the NFL, and whether you're a fan of the Browns, whether you're a fan of the Bears, whether you're a fan of name your random NFL team, minus about 8 of them that have actual franchise quarterbacks, that you would be like, CJ Stroud have a down year, trade him to me then,
Right.
Like trade me that guy.
Right. And I don't know what the reasoning was for I don't know if Peyton was asked about CJ Stroud or if they were talking about young quarterbacks, whatever it is, but he didn't need to say what he said.
No.
He could have.
He's Peyton Manning. He could be like, it was a down year. It's tough.
Right. So I think and you get this, I think, if you watch the Manning cast, I think he feels a responsibility to the league, but especially quarterbacks. When you see him talking about young quarterbacks, and he's very honest about the troubles he had early on, as he mentioned there, not winning a playoff game until his 6th year.
He threw a lot of interceptions, too.
He did.
The first year specifically, his rookie year.
Well, and you have to learn, right? That's kind of, we throw these quarterbacks out there, being the NFL, throw these quarterbacks out there so early, even when they say they're not going to play their rookie year. How often does that actually happen?
Yeah, never.
Patrick Mahomes is probably the one example. I think he played that last game of the season when it didn't matter, and look how that helped him. I wish guys got to situations like Will Howard, like we're talking about earlier, even as a high pick, and I get why they don't because they are high picks, but even as a high pick, give them time. Like, it's just, we make so many snap judgments. Like, think about a Josh Allen, for instance. Shout out to our mystery friend
who declared Ohio State as a guarantee to beat Michigan.
He did, yes. But look at Josh Allen early on. Like, what if the Bills had just given up on Josh Allen when he was just kind of a running quarterback who was big?
Yeah.
Even Ben Roethlisberger. I know he came in and won games early on for the Steelers when there was the injury, but it wasn't Ben Roethlisberger at that point in time. Like, you have to give these guys time to grow.
Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for how many years?
And that obviously worked out well. Even Brett Favre earlier, he was in Atlanta his rookie year, didn't play much at all, if at all. So I get it. There are guys that go out and excel from day one. And CJ, I think when you look back, assuming his career goes the way we think it will, I think that this may be a blip that no one talks about because he still made the playoffs and still threw.
I don't even think it's a blip. I just think that in his first year, I mean, you go out and throw for 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 picks, win Rookie of the Year, like dominate,
right?
Smoke the Browns in the playoffs in that first round. And then the expectations are just different, Like those are much different expectations you have coming into your rookie year, figuring out the NFL, and then everyone's like, "Oh, you did it! You figured it out. Like you should do this every season." And then there's no excuse behind it.
Right? Yeah, you can't expect that it's going to be the same for a young quarterback every year. Now, when we're talking year 4, 5, 6, he should be more consistent. He still threw 20 touchdowns. Now, the 12 interceptions, I think, is where people, because he didn't throw a ton of interceptions at Ohio State. I think 6 both years he started.
Yeah, and then he threw 5 as rookie year.
Yeah, so like that was maybe where the aberration will come in is, wow, he threw 12 as a second-year player when you look back at C.J. Stroud's career. At least that's what I think people in Houston hope, Buckeye fans who follow him hope. But again, for Peyton to defend him, A, I think is a pretty cool thing, but B, I think that means he thinks pretty positively of young CJ.
Stan in the YouTube chat said CJ would be the best Browns quarterback since Bernie. Yes. Yeah, he would.
I mean, CJ would be the best young quarterback for most franchises.
Yes.
At least recently.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Right.
I mean, I'm just trying to go back in my mind and look at guys who came in like that in the first couple of years. There's not many out there. Look at Baker. Baker had a fantastic career in Cleveland, and they said, it's not good enough.
Right.
And now look at him in Tampa Bay. Has found a new home for himself for sure.
After he went to the Sean McVay school of learning how to play quarterback.
By the way, which was a crazy, I forget who Baker was talking to, recapping that entire situation, because was he signed? Was he cut from the Panthers and then he was signed, or was he traded?
Yes, cut from the Panthers.
Cut from the Panthers and then he signed for the Rams. And the Rams, I believe, Pat, were playing on Thursday Night Football. What it was Baker's first start, and they signed him on like Tuesday. So he flew from Carolina all the way out to LA, cross country, spent the majority of like the evening at the Rams facility, like getting his playbook, learning his way around, dove into the playbook, went to practice the next day.
It was a walkthrough.
It was a walkthrough, obviously, because they're playing a game on Thursday, so they're not in full pads. It was a walkthrough, and they're like, okay, Baker, just kind of sit back and relax. And then they said Sean McVay drove him. Well, I'm sure that they had a driver, but the whole way to the game, that Baker and Sean McVay were just talking about the game and the game plans that he was starting.
Yep. It was a crazy year. He also won a big game on Christmas Day that season with the Rams. Wild year after the Rams won the Super Bowl the year prior, I believe.
I'm just trying to, and you're not in very good company here to talk about the Rams winning a Super Bowl. I know that you celebrated it. I know. There's not many listeners out there because we do have a lot of Bengals fans out there as well that are not too thrilled. But you had a great time.
My next door neighbor, who I've known since my current next door neighbor, who I've known since middle school, is a huge Bengals fan, watched the game with me. I felt very bad for him, gave him a big hug when the game ended.
As you should.
I was a little inebriated.
Yeah, I remember that part of the story.
Yes.
Let's just rattle off teams who would take C.J. Stroud as their starting quarterback. Dolphins, yeah. Okay. Jets, yes. I know you got Justin over there, but yes.
Still.
New England Patriots, we'll see what Drake May. He had a pretty good year last year. Ravens, no. They got Lamar. They're fine. Steelers, you got Aaron Rodgers, so I would say yes. You would take C.J. in Pittsburgh. Bengals, no. You got Joe. You're fine. Browns, yes. 1,000%. You would take them. Colts, yes, right? Jacksonville Jaguars, over Trevor?
I think so.
I would think so. I would think that you would take CJ over Trevor Lawrence. Titans, they just took Cam Ward number 1 overall.
Right.
If it would have been the offseason and they were offered CJ for the number 1 draft pick, they probably would have taken that, right? Probably would have done that. Chiefs, no. Chargers, I don't know. Denver, we'll see what Bo Nix is this year, second year. Raiders, you have Geno Smith, yes.
100%.
So I think a majority of the teams in the NFL would take C.J. Stroud as their starting quarterback, even though after the quote-unquote down year.
I mean, the Rams just re-signed Matthew Stafford. There was that whole drama early in the offseason. I think they would still take C.J. Stroud. Matthew Stafford has been great. Obviously won that Super Bowl we're not talking about. But to get a young guy like that almost anywhere who's already had this kind of success, there are only a few, like you said.
Yeah, there's a handful of teams with their guys, and they're sticking to their guys. But the rest of the NFL, you can't win without one, and CJ's been winning plenty down there in Houston in his first couple of years. Hashtag Buckeyes coming at you next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Colin Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Join the Fan and 10 TV on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30 to kick off the Beat the Heat Fan Drive. Purchase box fans and drop them off at the 10 TV studios on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30. The Beat the Heat Fan Drive is sponsored by Newman Roofing.
This summertime, it's Modelo time. Whether you're poolside or curbside, kick it with an ice cold Modelo. Time to fire up the grill and turn up. Time to reach for a crisp Modelo or the refreshing lime and salt flavors of Modelo Chelada. Time to raise one to summer, and time to stock up on Modelo before summer is gone. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at The Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
NBA draft coming up here, top of the hour, round number 2. Dylan Harper went 2, by the way.
Yes, we all knew that.
Yeah, I did too. Sometimes you just got to go with Ron Harper Jr., though. What are the Lakers going to do tonight?
I have no idea.
What picks do they have?
They traded
I have no
up,
idea.
They traded up with the Bulls, I think, to 42.
Okay.
So I think they certainly have, they must have something in mind, but they need a big man. They need a wing. A defensive-minded 3-and-D wing.
Reimer, do you have an NBA team, or are you you're just a North Carolina college guy and just a ball lover in the NBA?
I like the Warriors as my favorite. I hate to unfortunately say that over this.
Did you like
airwaves.
it? Did you like them during? Well, obviously, you did.
Before the run, because Harrison Barnes was drafted there.
Okay, that's why.
Yes,
that's fair. That's a fair point.
A fan.
That's a fair point, and it also helped out that. Then they just won multiple championships in the span of like 5 years.
I saw the potential in Steph after that Davidson run.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So did everyone.
Yeah, everyone did, for sure. Why am I blanking on the player who used to play with Steph Curry out in Golden State? Monte
Ellis.
Yeah, Monte Ellis. I love watching him play, him and Steph. They were always my 2K team in like 2K13 or 2K12, whatever whatever year that iteration was.
That was pretty nasty.
Yeah, it was a nice backcourt to have.
It was not as nasty in real life, though. That's why they moved on.
This is true.
Yeah. But in the video game, the combo, the duo, that was pretty solid.
They found Klay Thompson, and that worked a little better.
Yeah, no, it did. It worked out just fine for Klay. It worked out fine for Steph as well.
Murph, I think I've been seeing that the Lakers want Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton.
Yeah, that's a name that floated around. There's a bunch of them that have been. But yeah, that would make some sense.
So we'll get you to round 2 of the NBA draft coming up here at 8 o'clock. Very excited for that. Coming up here this evening, I did see this for hashtag Buckeyes, Pat. This from the desk of one Jerry Emick earlier today. Ohio State 8th and final Learfield Directors Cup standings. The Ohio State Department of Athletics finished 8th in the final Learfield Director Cup standings for the 24-25 academic/athletic year. The Directors Cup standings honor institutions maintaining a broad-based program and achieving success in NCAA sports programs. Texas won this year's competition by less than 2 points to edge new Big Ten Conference member USC, which totaled 1,253 points. I don't know exactly how they're awarded points, but I did see that Ohio State finished 8th, which means I don't know what they get for that, but that's a total culmination of all sports is what the Learfield Directors Cup is.
Right. Basically, where you finish in 19, I think it is, sports across all the sports you have, the where you finish in like final standings. So like the national championship, Ohio State won in football, that gets you a certain amount of points. Second place gets you, and so on and so forth. So yeah, actually, I would say, well, last year they finished 15th, but initially it was reported by Ohio State that they finished first. But then there was a score change, which dropped them to 15. No. That was a weird. I remember that the releases coming out like, I don't know, a couple days apart, maybe. It was like,
that's a big change. That's a big mess up.
Yeah, there was a screw up. But they'd been very good. They'd been in the top 5, I think, for 2 or 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So 8th is good. I would say that their standards are a little bit higher, but still good, still very good. They had, what was it? 10 women's teams qualify for NCAA championships or tournaments, and 8 men's programs.
Okay, good.
The closest to Ohio State's football team win the national championship, men's soccer.
3rd, right?
3rd.
Yeah, is what they got because they
actually that's not true. Women's hockey finished 2nd.
Well, they did. Yes, they did. They were very close to winning yet another national championship,
right?
As well. But good job by Ohio State Athletics getting it done. What are you getting into tonight? What are you doing?
Well, Sarah is dog sitting at a friend of ours' house, so she started yesterday staying over there. So I think she would like me to come eat dinner with her.
That's nice.
Before I head home, and then I have no plans. I did have a friend just text me and said $1 canned beers at Home Fields in Grandview. And I don't know how I convinced Sarah to go do that, but
just leave the dog for a couple hours. It's fine.
She works.
Is she close?
She is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I didn't know if she was like out in New Albany or something.
No. She's close. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go eat dinner. She talked about maybe getting Loops. Loops is good.
I haven't been to Loops in years. I need to go visit those guys. I love them over there.
Yeah, they're great. Diners, drive-ins, and dives went there.
Yeah, Common Man's on that episode.
He's there. I think it's Common Man, and I don't know, one of Common Man's partners is they're pictured there.
Yeah,
in the store.
I think it's T-Bone.
Is it?
I think it's T-Bone. I know the last time I went in there, they had. You can't?
No.
You and him get in Twitter arguments all the time.
We do. And then we see each other in real life, and it's very normal.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. Yeah, I also like to bully you on social media. So
you like
fine.
to just bully me.
That is true. You are correct. What's your Loops order? What are you getting when you go
I'm
there?
pretty basic. I like I just like the classic gyro or gyro, as some people say.
Yeah, no, that's
and
psychotic to call it a gyro. Yeah. It's a gyro.
One of my friends recently, actually one of the people that Sarah's dog sitting for, I think it's called the Titan.
Yeah, the Titan is now you need to eat a Titan when you're feeling very hungry because that will put you into a little bit of a food coma.
Yeah, I think that was the one that Guy Fieri. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to go with Fieri because that's how it's spelled. I believe that's the one that he endorsed.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a mixture, I think, of the Euro meat, or maybe I think it's pork.
Pork.
Yeah, is what they do. They do big pork on the spit. So that sounds good. Now I'm jealous.
You've got a drive ahead of you.
I do have a drive ahead of me. Yeah, so since we don't have the show tomorrow and Willie and Meredith are still up in Michigan, I got a 6-hour drive ahead of me right now. I'm leaving, and then hopefully around 2 a.m. I arrive up north. Get to hang out. You get an extra day on the weekend. You got to take advantage of it.
I want it to be known that I tried to convince you to skip out on driving up there until tomorrow and come hang out.
Yeah.
But Meredith, if she's listening, he was like, "No, I've got to go see my wife and kids."
I know, and they're
Cheers.
not even going to be awake.
Well, yeah.
when I get there. But the nice part is that, in my thinking, if I get this done tonight, I don't have to do it tomorrow.
Right, and you'll be there when they wake up, which is cool.
Yeah, and hopefully
Like Santa Claus.
Hopefully they let me sleep because I know that Willie's getting up at like 5:45 up there, which will not happen.
I doubt you will sleep. Too much.
No, I won't. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah,
but we're going to make it happen. You know.
You know what you can do on your drive up there?
What can I do?
You can listen to NBA Draft.
I can. Hey, good poll, Pat.
That's what I'm here for.
That's exactly what I'm going to be doing tonight on my drive, listening to round 2 of the NBA Draft. Yeah, and seeing what the Lakers are going to do at 42.
If that's where they are.
And if Ron Harper Jr. gets drafted. Reimer, what are you looking at for tonight? What other storylines are you getting into?
Well, I will be watching the draft while eating a plate of leftover nachos.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see where a bunch of experienced older college guys go because that's what you see in the second round. And I am very upset that there is 2 days of the NBA draft.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Easily could have been done in one night.
Well, they used to do it in one night, right?
They did, but it would take way too. Like I remember watching when I think it was one of the years one of the Buckeyes went.
Kada?
No, it wasn't Kada.
I remember
Maybe
waiting
Malachi.
a long time for Kada.
Kada did drop. Maybe it was Malachi. I don't remember, but it was just like, why is this taking so? Especially even in the second round. Like at least the NFL starts to speed it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I saw this year that it was 2 days, I was like, oh boy, they're really dragging this thing out. I didn't watch last night because I was at the crew game. I assume they took their time with everything.
Oh yeah, and like minute and a half, 2 minute walks up to the podium and everything to shake the commissioner's hand. And why can't we get updated hats for the players that were traded? So
they're not official.
So that like Walter Clayton Jr. isn't getting a picture with the Wizards hat when he's going to Utah.
You mean when Kobe Bryant got drafted?
And he's wearing a Hornets.
Yeah, that's an iconic picture.
Maybe in a year or so we'll be talking about Buckeyes in the NBA draft again because that's fun when that happens.
I hope we are. Pat, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your Saturday show with Dylan, all right?
Thank you. You enjoy your drive.
Thanks so much. Yeah, very appreciated. 6 hours, most of it in the dark, and a thunderstorm, which I've been looking at the weather map. So, yeah. Good thoughts would be appreciated for sure. Everybody have an awesome night. Draft show tomorrow for the Blue Jackets with Bobby Mack and Dylan Tyre. We are back on Monday. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Talk to you then. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group. We can help ensure you'll have a reliable income stream in retirement, locking in gains and avoiding downturns in the market. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live. There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour.